What's going on? Good to see you. Hi, Tammy. Hey, Rita. Hey, Facebook. Good to see everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? Hope you guys can. Can you hear me okay on the YouTube? Checking chat. All right. Can y'all hear me? Can you tell me whether you can hear me okay or not? And hey, can you hear me? And right on. Thank you. I just need to clarify that. I've had some issues with this, but this is even better, man. I was just checking out my screen right on here. I love this a lot better. Hey, PP. How's it going to everybody today? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the 15-minute Rev. Dr. Missy Hood again. Glad to see you, actually. And you know what? However many times it takes is however many times it takes to get the word out, but we're not stopping. We're not ever going to stop. We'll keep coming back and coming back. So anyway, praise God. Anyway, God's got a word for you today, intercessor, and he knows how to keep you motivated, how to keep you in the game. A lot of things coming your way. Obviously, a lot of witchcraft in the atmosphere. I don't know how much witchcraft you've been taking. It has been full throttle today here. So that's a good sign, though. That's absolutely 100% a good sign. Hey, Casey, good afternoon, man. I'm catching all my favorite people today. I'm so grateful to see you guys. It's a blessing to be back. I'm not kidding. It's a blessing to be back, and I'm so grateful you guys came back. Sorry for earlier, and you know God always has a plan in what He does. So praise God, He knows what He's doing. But got a word for you to tell you what's going on with you. Um, so the 15-minute rep, we're going to jump right in. It's called Codified Spells Against You. The spirit of Pharaoh coming against you. And users stay stuck. Users stay stuck. We're going to get a little bit deeper into the word, but let me give you a little bit of overview about what I'm sensing is happening in the atmosphere right now, because a lot of people are getting really dismayed and really discouraged about what is going on all 7 mountains right now, mainly the main governmental mountain with regard to certain people and whatnot. Um, I really, really believe that God is forcing the bride to stand up. He's forcing you, He's laying steel into your soul right now. And I would say that another way, but it part of me doesn't even care anymore, because it's just like, you know what? If we can't be honest with each other and see the Lord in each other, then we're in a heap of trouble. But He's giving the bride a soul of steel. You can use your imagination there, but He's making you a warring bride. And that's the new place that we're coming in to right now. But if you find yourself a little bit dismayed, a little bit discouraged or what have you, I am not, by the way. I'm actually really, really, as of, I pretty much stay up all the time. But if you find yourself in a place where you're kind of like, none of this makes sense. We don't know what's going on. And He does, but He does. And what He's really trying to do right now is He's trying to teach us how to walk a thing through, to where we actually finish, because He finished what He starts. And so if you're wondering why a lot of the prophet's words haven't come to pass yet, it doesn't mean they're not coming to pass. A lot of them, the true prophets, they're trying to catch our words into the atmosphere. So if that's you, prophet, you need to be breaking off codified spells, laws, and magic. They put matrix, ley lines, trade routes, all a structure above you in the spirit. Capture your words so they don't go into the third heavens. You need to break that stuff off, because we can't do each other's praying for each other. So you need to get your intercessors on this and breaking off that mess in the, because the Lord says that if it's the Lord, this is for you too. True King, spoken of you. All you have to do is command, but you've got to also start staying on top of this witchcraft and breaking it off, because they're trying to stop Him in you, although they can't. Started, but doing it. And I'm trying to find out a more articulate better, because it's trying to explain. Um, they have all kinds of tools. They have all kinds of spells that they use on you. And right now, the intercessors that are the true bride are becoming so effective now that they're giving all they've got to stop you. And I'd venture to guess they're using time bender witches. Time bender know how to move back and forth in time. and to stop you or whatever. But there's still no match for God. The occult is no match for God in you if you're operating in the true King's degree. So, long story short, what they're trying to do is to discourage you by making you believe a demonic reality. What is a demonic reality? A demonic reality is like fear, false evidence appearing real. Okay? So God didn't speak it, it has to fall to the ground. Lamentations 38, which tells me, it makes me ask you the question then, if your prayers aren't breaking through, if your ways, testing it in the courts of heaven, saying, if it's not your will, not your way, not God's permission, not their portion of kingdom, then let it fall to the ground. Lamentations 3:37 to 38. It all has to come tumbling down, and you'll feel it coming tumbling down around. So this is a way to keep this stuff out of your atmosphere, intercessor, so that your prayers get through. Because remember, God is coming back for a warring bride. He's not doing everything. He's not doing it like he was doing it before. So he's expecting us to learn a thing or two. Okay? And I thought about that today too. I thought, good God, how much more? No, I'm being honest. I thought, I'm not trying to be complainant, but I'm just as you. So I'm thinking, God, what? You, God, all you'd have to do is take this mess down. He said, I know, but I'm waiting for you to do it. I'm waiting for you to do it. I'm waiting for you to learn a thing or two. And I'm waiting for you to depend on me so I can show you what to do. Because remember, I'm coming to have you seated beside me in heavenly places. This is about learning to rule and reign with him. Heavenly places. And I thought, holy smokes, how much more? I mean, really? So I'm not trying to be a whiner or a complainer, but yeah, that's the place that we're at in the spirit right now. So, what's God saying to you? Because there are certain things that you're going to need to learn to do as an intercessor if you're going to withstand the onslaughts of the enemy, if you're going to operate at these high levels. And these are some things I was telling our teams today. And I don't tell you everything, but I do share a lot of this that I feel like will benefit you, to try to give you a tip or two. I want you to see all the intercessors we. And it's not to say that we're doing badly. Obviously, if all it takes is a few men and women to break the whole body through, especially if you're a front runner. Front runners are the men and women aligned with God's heart. They use voices, the quirk. Not that I'm being biased, but I can't help but be me. But you're usually going to be the ones he's going after, because all it takes is one of you to burst the whole body. Where there are fake front runners, the fake church, and the fake church is in a lurch. They're the ones kind of burring our butt right now because they won't get cleaned up. So, and I'm being nothing to lose. There you are. All right, let me tell you what's coming at you. The way to make it through, like this. First of all, you got to make up your mind that there's no place for you to go back to. Okay, there's nothing back in Egypt. So if you're thinking about the good old by and by, can we back to the place? Really? No, you don't want that either. So don't even look back there. That's not even a portion. The only way out is through. When God was driving me to Canada, we got caught it in an unbelievable snowstorm. We caught that big blizzard. It was like that big back in 2015. It was a Gulf Coast trade wind, whatever that is, and it caught this whatever from Canada. I don't know what they call it. The Nordic blast. What did it blast us? But we were driving through a blizzard, and it was like a white knuckle ride. And I was like, oh my God, in my head, because my mom was with me. But the Lord said, the only way out is through. The only way out is through. Your hotel is in front of you, not behind you. And I thought, oh, I have a person to drink. There you go. I did have a few glasses. Okay, here we go. You allow the enemy picked off. Understand? You're going to get picked off. And by the way, right now it's not a time to be partying. I'm not trying to give you. I'm not going to be religious, but it's a time to stick. We're in the fight. Stay focused on the Lord. Another thing you want you to ways to keep moving forward. Find your routine and your schedule. routine schedule with the Lord, appointments with Him. Time that you pray, appointments with God. Find your support system, pray together. Okay? Trying to be cliche, that's the truth. Got a teamwork mentality that you're trying to instill in the bride right now. And so it takes a people group moving inside and to keep moving us ahead. And the good news for you um, is that if you weren't effective, he wouldn't be hitting you. Okay, if you weren't effective, the enemy wouldn't even bother with you. So the good news for you is because you're so effective, he's hammering the crap out of you. Okay, so keep coming through. Don't give up. Don't get caught up in your doubt and unbelief, discouragement, depression, hopelessness, despair, or the fear. Those are all red flags of witchcraft. Okay, if you're getting hit with any of those emotions, they're trying to hit you in your emotions to bog you down in the spirit. Coming through. Finally, Lord said, quit making not to do. No, I've told you to do because there are none at this point in the ball game. There are no at all. At this point in the ball game, we're going to become a praying bride, a warring bride. We're going to keep our focus like flint, going inside, and you're going to keep moving. And he's developing his faith in you. By the way, thank you, Holy Spirit. There are different components that you have to understand that are not faith. Your faith stands alone by itself in God. It's a separate entity in and of itself, apart from your fivefold giftings, prophetic gift, your discernment, your knower, perceiver, blah 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 blah. Apart from your senses, everything separate entities. This is a separate component apart from these. So the Lord is purposefully all of these over here, these components, with all your senses, your fivefold gifting, are everything you've relied on in the past to navigate with. These are not your navigation tools. This is just one tool, faith. Faith is your navigator. Faith is your navigator. And actually, Jesus in you, with his faith, he's guiding you through. He gave you a word, told you a time or two what he's going to do. And he's like, all you got to do is use your navigator of faith to come on through. All this over here, this is bound to be screwed up. So don't even pay attention to the mess. They have nothing to do with your faith. Nothing. Two separate entities. Now let's jump into the word. But there's a lot of resistance today against intercessors because we are so attacked. Give him all the glory for that. Hallelujah. So that should make you extremely happy, by the way. Because if the enemy's trying to tick you off like he's trying to do me, ask my head intercessor. Well, I about made history. I just thought, you know what, devil? I'm going to keep coming back. I'm like the Energizer Bunny. I just keep coming back and coming back and coming back. That's what you got to do. You can't quit, man. Because he wants you to get frustrated. He wants you to quit on God. And if you know anything, God is not the one you're to blame for all this mess. If you weren't effective, he would not be hitting you. No, this should make you extremely happy. Make you extremely happy. Keep pressing, even against the fake church who's a burr in your butt right now. Let them learn the hard way if they must. But make yourself again appointments with God when you pray. Regime, do it. Stay in a group of prayer warriors because it's the team that makes the dream work. Remember, you can't go backward. Nothing to go back to. It's not ever going to get off by yourself. You're going to get off. So this is what witchcraft is hitting you with. No, it's witchcraft that makes you tired. Witchcraft is what the enemy uses because it's oppressive, it's heavy, and there's something about spells, laws, and magic that they purposely place on you, make you get out of your regimen, and it's a false reality. It's false evidence appearing real. By the way, it's not the truth. So I believe God's trying to get us to a place of all truth, no matter what God tells us, ever, regardless. We're going to step in, take him in his word, and we're going to our faces like flint. All this to do. I say that right now. Makes you makes you feel that way. Then it's not even resting on you. Imagine what it does to the people who are stuck with it, who haven't got delivered of it yet. Like people stuck in Jezebel or the occult that are stuck in the spirit of witchcraft. They choose to participate, but they're always oppressed people. They're very oppressed people. And so what do? How do they make it affect you? They use codified laws, spells, and magic. Write this down. Codified is like what they're making legislation. Codified, layered, structured, written, spoken, frontwards or backwards, words too. They use that with codified law, spells, and magic against you. And they also use it to create matrices, a grid, if you will, a ley line. It's a false structure. If God didn't build it, it has to fall to the ground. Lamentations 3:37 through 38. It all has to come tumbling down. If the Lord didn't speak, it's not the true king's tree. I'm telling you how to get your words to stand up. 2 Samuel 3, prophets' words don't fall down. Now we're seeing a distinction between the truth and the fake. Remember, I told you in 2023, when 2024 arrives, the spiritual walls will narrow more, and they're getting more narrow as we move through each month of each tribe. They're narrowing again as he brings God. And it's ticking fake church off. Oh, they're madder than you know. That cleaned up, and that difference as firepower. That's what he's trying to tell you. But this is it. We're layering codified spells, laws, and magic onto you, intercessor. And what does that mean? Experience with this about 20 years ago, actually. When I was here in Austin, and used to go to a little treasure chest church, and I was struggling. I never had a problem with blood pressure before, but see, they're finding generational cursings in your bloodline. They're trying to latch onto those because the witches and the Satanists will use that, and they'll try to create codified laws, spells, and magic. Those are spells within spells. But if you break out of one, you get the next level. So you never really break out, and they can continue working it against you. So what you're going to do, write this down. You're going to collapse Numbers 14:9. Write it down. All their codified laws, spells, and magic. Write this down. Layered, structured, written, frontwards, backwards. Okay? You're going to take authority over it. Luke 10:19. You're going to say, Lord, in the courts of heaven, not your will, not your way, not your truth, not your permission, not your righteous authority. Let it fall to the ground. Lamentations 37:38. If it's not you, vetoing it. Luke 22:42. You can't take something. You can't build something. Only the Lord builds a house, and all those that build, there's a thing. Oh, I should have put them online. They would have shot me. Okay, we'll stay focused. So, what happened to me 20 years ago, though, was that I got hit with this blood pressure stuff, and I went into my church congregation, and I had an apostle, and I told him what was going on. And I said, "Man, this is so crazy." I said, "I can pray, and it breaks off, and it comes back." And I said, "And I'm fine for a few days, and blah 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 blah. And maybe I do have this problem. Maybe I do." And he said, "No, you don't. No, Missy, you don't." And it took literally, check this out. It took 4 apostles and 2 prophets to break that crap off of me. And it took them 45 minutes to break the spell within the spell within the spell off of me. And I thought, holy smokes, this is complicated. And the Lord said, no, it's not, miss. No, it's not. It's going to be okay. I haven't gotten you to that part of your journey yet to teach you how to break these things off of you. Well, boy, has he now. He is now, and he's educating you too. So I'm glad all my friends are here. I'm glad to see you. Okay, here we go. Let's go. So here we go. Collapse them. I told you how to do that. You're going to collapse them too. Write this down. On the cosmos, NATO, federal, state, city, county, and personal level. From today back to Adam and Eve, Matthew 24:36. Render them useless. Habakkuk 1:3-4. Because no occult magic is any match for God. Okay? So today, this is what they're doing, and this is what's making you feel very, very fatigued. And I don't know about you, but this morning when I woke up, because I was great yesterday, I was all pumped up and did my stuff for the Lord yesterday. And got up today and I thought, well, what is this that is trying to hit me? This is something. But this is partially, and I haven't gotten but it's partial occult, partial garbage from the church because, again, they're trying to side with Jezebel, which is large. So they're trying to have their own way, basically, meaning they refuse to submit to a power greater than themselves. They won't face themselves. They won't deal with their crap, get free. They think that they're everybody else's God. So you're not, I don't answer to you. I answer to not a lot of these people. So they're trying to manipulate and control people that they see with power because they actually want what you got. They don't want to do and go through what you've gone through to get it. So it's not happening. That news for you? Dog, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen in your lifetime unless you get your butt up and get into deliverance ministry. So this is part of the conversation. Here we go. That's what's got you fatigued. You have to break it off. Once broken off, you should get as new. Okay, you got to do that every day, by the way. Stay on top of this. Those of you who are leaders, who are good bride leaders, honest with the Lord, you're honest. You're going to notice, like the true bride, it's authentic. It's authentic. I mean, this is all I've got to give. And so, obviously, the fake church doesn't like this level of truth because they're operating on a very superficial level. A lot of them wouldn't even know hit them in the face, and that's why they get so easily offended by it. So the truth shouldn't offend any of us. To be able to talk about these, be able to say we should see the heart of God in each other by now, if you really are God's child. And you should be saying, you know what, I'm not judging that book by its cover. I don't know that person. And you wait for God to reveal it. You want me to relate with this person? You want blah 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 blah. Shows you the heart of the person because everybody, if they're truly God's, right? Hopefully, I like it. But the place where we're not so superficial anymore, where we've gotten enough, we've come through the door, and we're actually looking at the way God sees through the eyes. So we're seeing them from above and not below. Men think they know what's the person because they're quick to judge everybody. Okay, so we're beyond that. Let's get on. So false evidence appearing real. Very true statement. Very true statement. It has to do with these demonic realities. Demonic reality is the enemy creating with word weapons, number weapons. Write that down too. They hit you with numbers. They're using mathematical magic, physics, science, geometry. Let me. What was it, Brenda? Monte Carlo theorems. They're using theorems. I know a lot of you are going, "Oh my God, I sucked at math." I did too. Good for you. I did too. I'm an artist. But who cares? That's not who we are. So they're using mathematics. You're going to nullify it. 1 Corinthians 1:19, veto it, nullify it, overrule it, overturn it, neutralize it. Isaiah 23:9. And then they're using elemental magic on it. Remember, we're in 4 parts of God. 1, 2, 4. It's water, fire, earth, and spirit. But if it's the occult, it's water, fire, earth, and air. How you know the difference? The difference of the power of the air. Okay, but we're moving into God's 7, right? We're going to get you hopefully this year. So here we go. You have to know what a demonic reality is, which is what they use by praying their witchcraft on you. That's what the fake church uses too, trying to pray their will. Either way, they're trying to pray their will on you, which isn't the will of the Lord. So this is why you have to find out what the king has to say to you. If it's the true king's decree. So you're living in a different reality, by the way. That's why you're on a different spiritual page as these bozos. Call them what they are. They're bozos. Bozo the clown. All they need is a pair of shoes. Look the part. Have them live it anyway. So they're trying to create a different reality though than what God has to say. So your job, intercessor, front runner, is to keep your focus, set your face like flint on what God had to say. And that's what's helping you enter in. Okay? That's what's going to help you stay the course and keep your focus on the Lord. No matter what they're yelling at you, no matter what your fivefold gifts are trying to make you think is coming true, because your fivefold giftings can be off if you need to be cleaned up. So that's why God wants you relying on these components over here. This, their fivefold gifting things. None of these are reliable. They're terrible navigation systems. So faith is the truest navigator you'll ever have. When you know God has told you a thing, you're like, yeah, we're taking that to the bank. God said it, that's it. That settles it. We're going to just pray this thing on through. And then you've got your selfish few. We're going to get into that here in a second. Jezebels, because the church, of course, the church look like hell right now. They dress like it too. They're not dressed for success. They're checking their graveyard best. And so they think, oh no, I'm going to not. Don't look at you. You won't look at your heart condition. I'll be honest with you. And I'm just letting it all hang out. But sincerely, if you're not going to be honest with yourself, where? Because we can live in a bubble reality all we want. I've seen people do it around me all my life, and their lives suck. And I think everybody else's lives around them miserable too, because they expect everybody to live that lie like they do. No, we're not living your lie with you. We're coming on through into truth. And I'm going to live in God's truth, what God says is true, not you. This is the options that we have in order to live life abundantly. So it's a very true statement this hour, but there's nothing the Lord wants you to know. The devil can take your push. You can stand up to it, bride, and you can come inside and let him lay down steel in your soul. Or give you balls of steel. I'll just say that. Okay. That's where we're going in this conversation. I'm talking to you from a military perspective. I'm not talking to some little girl or adult. This is what God is doing. Body for them, call themselves the bride. You've got to quit looking at yourself or looking at your circumstance. Flesh just evokes the natural inclinations of the flesh. Look at it through. Say, you know what? I wonder what David went through when David was looking at Goliath. Walked up to him, little bitty guy. David was David. I hope to meet him soon. Walked up there. Have you ever say something happened? Because this is not being braggadocious. My father was special forces first of all. Let me just give you a prerequisite. But I have been taught to fight. I don't go looking for trouble, but I know how to defend myself, and I hope you do too. But I had an issue happen to me. I used to drive this really souped up BMW. Love fast cars. Love fast. I loved this car, and this car hauled. And I was just minding my business one day coming home in traffic. Suppose I was these differentiate them. They tried to drive me off the road for no reason because I locked that sucker down and I honed in right. I got in right behind them after they did that. And I stayed right on their bumper. I got on the phone with 911. I said, this is Melissa Hood, Austin County. It was Travis County Sheriff's Department. Right behind this plate, blah, 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 blah. I'm fixing to whoop their blah, blah, blah. No, 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 Miss Hood. No, Miss Hood. No, no, no. I said, oh, yes, yes, yes. I may be going to jail today, but yes, yes, this is happening. This is so going down. And we're going down 1325 at 110 miles an hour. And I'm right on their tail. They couldn't shake me. They're like, Miss Hood, we've got the police. That's good. I'll see you when you get there. And I'm on the phone with you the whole way, baby. So right, this person gets out. Well, they whipped it over, and I'm just like, right behind him. And she gets out. And this person says, I'm gonna kill. And I said, you are, as I'm walking right up to them. I said, you think you are? I just wham, and start wailing on this person. I don't care. That's unladylike. They asked for it, they got it, Toyota. And then they had the audacity to tell me, you need to calm down. I need to calm down. Oh no, Holmes, I'm not calming down. We just got this party started. You poked a giant, you poked the bear. Here it goes. Let's get it gone. Right about then, Travis County Sheriff Department pulls up. See, that's something you don't know what people are capable of. You don't want to screw with people you don't know. Because my dad was a lethal fighting machine. So I learned the best how to defend. You want to get a party started. But the point is in this, you're going to have to get some balls of steel. You want to be the bride. There's no room for panty waste. And I'm using honest talk with you tonight. Talk to you about how to come inside. And a lot of people might say, if you're religious, that is not God. Oh, you're probably puffed up like a pufferfish. Because you just can't believe a lady would talk like that. Well, let me just tell you, someone got their whoop that night. And they went to jail. I didn't go to jail because I stood up for righteousness. And he found the officer, they arrested the people on the spot. Big dog, let's go. Now I got to go get my nails fixed because you broke 2 of my nails. So there you go. You don't screw with people you don't know. Capable of. But in this hour, the enemy wants you to believe what he's trying to point at you. And God's saying, no, sweetheart, I'm trying to bring you out and through, but you're going to have to get skin before I do. You're going to have to get rid of your grave clothes. You're going to have to get rid of the sheep mentality of, I'm just going to follow. No. And you're going to have to loyal and true, Lord. So if you find a group of people that you know hear the Lord, be loyal and true. Honor the Lord in those leaders. Because there are some good leaders out there in the bride right now. I could name a few. Love them dearly. Don't mention names on here unless I cite source. I always try to honor the Lord. But I don't have a problem anymore telling these people. And see, that's what I think offends the church. Like, I can't say that you're not of God. And I'm thinking, are go and play politics in church? So that's of God? That's what the. No, God's looking for warm, loving, godly people. Say what they mean and they mean what they say. And their word is their bond, just like Jesus did in his day. Where is your credibility? That's what God's looking for, the heart condition in this day. So, God's trying to help you enter in because he's trying to teach you something that haven't been done by very many men or women for that. But he's also trying to enter you into heaven's maturity so you can have what he promised he would do. But the problem that we're facing is that we're dealing with a lot of power hungry people. And you know what my dad said? And let me say this too about my dad. My dad was a strategist. He was one of the lead. When he died, he was one of the youngest strategists. But try not to tell you too much, but he wasn't into power hungry people. Taught us not. Because my dad was a Christian, my mom is too. Strong and strong into righteousness and justice. Doing what's right. Making sure you do what's right. It's not right over it's not about power, it's about right over might. That's the problem in America right now because there's that are willing to compromise, have their so they're power hungry. They're power hungry. And most of them haven't had power. And so what they're doing is that they're what little bit of power they get their hands on, whether it's in a job, whether it's an anointing, which is very little because God won't give it, and they won't up from themselves in these graveyard clothes that they The problem is that God's into freedom. It's not a problem, actually. It's the best news ever. And unless you choose to allow God to change you and change a few things about this power hungry mentality, only got enemy's heart. Get you kicked out of it. Don't change. A lot of people fell on enemies. Well, they've already committed treason. So you either have God's heart and you're love oriented, team minded like the Lord is, or you're all about yourself, which is Satan's mentality. Satan's. The Lord said, you know where that got him. Brings us to Exodus 10:1 through 12:13, knowing the difference between power hungry people and love, or people that are love hungry, their presence. We love the presence of. And see, I think the problem though in the church, just telling you, Mike, I thank God that I wasn't raised watching Bill. Kept me out. Religious structure that so many operate that plastic Christianity that everybody wants to push you into a mold so you can be just as superficial as official. I want to go deep, get to know you. Know if you're who you say you are. I really want to get to know people and to feel loved by God in me. You get to know the Lord in me. Trust our people. Ask them. I'm a friend forever. But I also know one thing about my vessel. If you come at my vessel, God defends. I don't know why. Defends me. And I don't mean that braggadociously. It's been like that all my life, which tells me using me for a thing or two in this day and time. And it's used to set the body free. I'm not speaking from the outside in, I'm speaking from the inside out. Love on my life. I have the already there. I'm teaching you to come in from the dark. Hallelujah. So this is it. Let's get back on track. So this is what happened to Moses. All Moses asked Pharaoh for was 3 days. He just wanted to take his people on a 3-day journey to a place where they could worship the Lord. People there. Asking a hard thing. And because of being hungry, this is what the spirit of Pharaoh does. Remember, this is about the spirit of Pharaoh. But what had happened is it drew a line of demarcation. People group. Kind of like what's happening. So God is saying, for me, you're against me. That's what he's going to have my heart or you're going to serve the enemy. Be lukewarm in this. No room. I'll spew you out. And it'll shock you, says the Lord. What's happening to a lot of the religious in the right, because God warned them for 5 years, hey, I'm going to narrow the spiritual laws, and you've got to come inside. You got to get free from you. You got to come inside. He gave us 5 years to do that. And then in 2024, boom, it hit the door. Now here we are. A lot of people don't know what to do with themselves. What happened? Well, you didn't listen the last 5 years. Go through deliverance. And God wasn't into a little dabble, do you? He was like, no, I want to immerse it. I want to immerse you. I want to do you. I want to know that my presence is. So it's not you operating. So you don't have to worry about these false navigation systems. You've got faith to guide you through. God's faith, by the way. You're not relying on your own faith. You're relying on Him. This is what's going to happen. This is what's happening. So the line of demarcation has been drawn, and it signaled that some had chosen to stay with Pharaoh or the world. Same thing we're dealing with today. But it's because some people think that they can live in both worlds at the same time. No, you cannot live in both worlds. Live in both realities and be successful for any good leader. He wants to know that their people are only loyal to him. You don't have a heart for two masters, all men. This is what networking does for you. For some of you who refuse to be faithful, And you're thinking that, well, I just want to all men. I don't want to make any. Yeah, God does say to be all men. There's a way to do that without compromise. You are expected at the end of the day to speak the truth, no matter what. I paid a high price. Got to come to nothing. All you've got. He's all you. So, power hungry people though are never satisfied. They don't want just. They just don't want their way. They want everything. They want to attain everything they can for self. They want power over everything, and then they want your way. They want everything that God's given you, including you. It's why we're having such a difficult time with Jezebel at present because that demon doesn't want you coming out and through. A demon wants you staying stuck in the muck and the mire along with all the control freaks with it. Because if it can get as many people to hell with it as it can, then it feels like it's won over God. So you've got to make up your mind which kingdom you're serving. Are you going to stay stuck in self? Are you going to stay stuck in self-centeredness, selfishness, control, manipulation? Or are you going to come up out of you and realize that you have to do and change a thing or two? That's what you got to make your mind about. It's not all about you. So these people groups lived two worlds apart, but they also were headed towards two very eternal, different eternal destinations. Eternal destinations. One was heading to heaven, the other one was heading to hell. They kept choosing Jezebel. Because Jezebel is the front runner for the Antichrist spirit, while Elijah is the front runner for Jesus Christ. That's why God said, know who you're following, know who you're serving, know whose tendencies you've adapted to. Ooh, it's not always good to be you. Tell you why. Because you're a spirit, God's a spirit, the devil's a spirit. Submit to the spirit that flows through you. If you refuse to get free from the demons on your bloodline, the demons that so easily beset you, guess what spirit's flowing through you? And you're a ready, open conduit for the enemy to use. Hardcore. So, which means you have no firepower in your prayers because you're flesh oriented. So, there's no God with you. Get those prayers answered. Unless you submit and ask God to relieve you of your suffering, which means He's fixing to deal with you hard things. And see, people don't like the hard. They don't like the problem with the church. They want half baked truth. They want you to tell them what makes you feel good. Here, cater to my emotions, cater to this navigation system over here, which is taking them nowhere. Over here, because it lights me temporarily. It's an instant fix, but it doesn't fix them long term. So they don't ever go anywhere. They stay stuck in the muck and the mire. Whole world starts to burn. So you don't have firepower because you don't deal with your stuff. But the Lord says that marry the world to your Christianity because the world wants you to compromise or not get too radical. Don't be too radical for me. I've had people tell me, you're too radical, Missy. You're so different now. What happened to you? You've changed. Really? Good. Awesome. Hopefully for the good. I'm not going to compromise. This is the way walking. Nobody told me. So anyway, I would never call you to do not one to hide. Not ever do things that world rulers are asking of you. They want you to compromise. They want you to get into LBGTQ. They want you to get into pornography. They want you to be a pedophile too. Gosh, we're getting up in their stink today, aren't we? They want you to accept all the crap on TV, all this stuff that so it can get into your gates and get into your heart to hinder you from seeing. But it's insincere. It's flesh based. It's instant gratification. If you know anything about faith, solid, builds a house. That thing's God didn't build it, it won't stay all based on. This is why Pastor Daniel, you know who Daniel Duval is? Rocking, Pride Ministry. I don't do that. But go check him out. Talking these same things I'm are Titans. Already see not the only. And so now we've got the witchcraft thinking, no, doctor, not in the. Oh yes, go to them. Go to these like Paul, not Paul, Saul, Paul, asking her, what do you know about David? Calling up a dead prophet. Supposed to do that. I mean, but he was desperate because he. So they're going to witchcraft now. They're reverting to get their own selfish Jezebel. They're trying to force their will because they're used to always have. Sometimes show you the difference. Not putting brings us to Matthew 20. Hey, not all, and not all are willing to go through, but they want it. They self try to hide, try to steal, they'll try to siphon it. False trade. False trades meaning when you have leaders, let people come up around them. They do it anyway because they stroke their because they're so that if nobody bows down, but it's a demonic traders way. So they let all of their intercessors, prayer teams, they have always let work for it. So it's a trend. Wow, the enemy is looking at which vessel your spirit, God's a spirit. If you're all broken vessels, I guess you're prime. So all these demons can use vessels, hold you back from the divine. The same way the occult is. They might as well be part of the occult because it's the same spirit of witchcraft. Same cat, different color. But they operate in a selfish attitude, which was revealed through the parable when the workers were hired. Like Jesus hired you. He hired you, he bought you with a price. And some of the workers got mad because they've been working all day, and they realized when the new workers came, the new believers, they said, "Hey, why are you paying them the same thing you paid us?" Well, because they came in. They at least came in. They came in to help you. They may not be as skilled as you yet, but at least they came in. And they're like, that's not fair. Haven't been long. They haven't been 7 years long as I've been serving you guys. Leadership longer. Been doing this longer. God said, but at least they came in. At least they came in. At least they're willing to put my way now. I'm meeting right here. There's a meeting. That's all I'm gonna leave it right there. So anyway, we're going. So you see, true love comes in willingly. True love comes in willingly. And it's never about having the look out for me attitude. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Never about that. So they had to learn this lesson then about realizing they weren't their own vessels. And they really didn't have a say so in the conversation, if you know what I mean. So none of us have a say so in the conversation with God. If you're truly following God, and you may not always agree, by the way, I don't always agree, but I know they're the Bible. So if they're my boss, I'm just going to do, and they're the fall guy. Fall guy, God bless him. I'm going to do my very, very best. But at the end of the day, they're the fall guy. Same as in any ministry, same as with any job. Your boss is your boss. You do all. But the selfishness attitude is what's getting the best of the church. Because everybody's got, look at me. I want to, I'm just going to take it. And take it to what I deserve. Serving God long. You know, God's not going to let you do it. It can put you 6 feet under if you're not. This is the place we're entering into. You don't, after all the increased firepower that we're seeing God do, some people better start listening to God. You better start listening to a thing or two. You better start taking Him seriously, lest you cut your own life short, which means having you. And then God will replace you with someone else who will. If He's already narrowing the spiritual laws with where we've already stepped, why wouldn't He the other parts of His promise? And it amazes me the mentality of and their arrogance. They think, no, I don't have to listen. I don't have to listen. I'll just have to ignore it. All the while, He's got His angels of death starting to camp around about you. Early death assignment. You Christians don't know the death assignment. Because when you don't listen to the prophets, God says you're as good as dead. You know that passage 12:11? Heard that you go off your own way and you do your own thing, and you just think, I'm not going to listen to you. I can do, because you've already numbered your days. Do what you do. Do you be you. So this is it. This is what occurs when everybody's trying to do things their own way, because we don't always receive the same rewards. But we live in a time with extremely selfish people who think it's their right to claim things that are not theirs. And God has already stated He doesn't share inheritances between tribes. Every tribe, every belief, look at numbers. So what we're really with no firepower, and they want your portion in this hour because lazy to get off their blip and do what God's called them to do is shoot. There you go. Hey, there you go. So, and they're not even. He's not even obligated to help them, because what if they're not His at all? I don't know. So this is what makes them so mad when they see like you or me, and we're coming in and we're coming into holy reality. Pardon me, please. And then we have these people challenging the Lord in us, and I'm just like, who are these people? Are they just stupid? I mean, the level of arrogance and pride. And and honestly, today I just shake my head. I have to shake my own. I just shake my head. I'm thinking, good Lord. But let them figure it out. Mentality. They think nobody's ever going to hold them accountable. And unfortunately, hit 20, hit that door of accountability. So this isn't just the year of the more. It's the year of the more blessing, the year of the more accountability, the year of more judgment. Everything is more, more, and more. It's increased. Jesus is here. The King's here. Judgment's didn't pass inspection. Hopefully you did. But He's here. And He's no longer being nice anymore. Taking us to Psalms 25, 1 through 15. What is our time, Brenda? How long have we been on? Oh, we're doing good. Psalms 25, 1 through 15. Moving and adjusting your way forward with God while He moves you. Staying within God's will is probably the most important thing you'll ever do in your lifetime. Because God knows where He's taking you. And He's the only one that's going to be glorified in the whole situation with you. And He's not obligated to anybody, but He is obligated to His word. He's a God who never lies. So if he tells you something and you're standing on faith, got that navigation system operating, bringing you inside. Where spiritual laws are activated at higher levels, and you're going to have to adhere to them. But if you persist in having your own way, the Lord says you will live to regret it because I only guide those who wait on me in prayer. So I can show them the way into all truth. And I know how to get them there. But there are the two types of people God guides. The types of people that are clean, fit, who aren't rebels. And guides them. And he knows where he's taking them. And they trust him. They know him still. So making an impact for Christ, and the enemy starts fakes around you to stop, or to use fake anything. Know that you're doing something right. You're doing something very, very right. Because the enemy doesn't mess with people who don't operate in God. Trust me. That's a good news. That's the this last thing that they used on you. Look, get the gentleman's name. I forgot to write it down. But he said that the revenge of a coward is to slander. Let slander you for no reason. David went through it. Jesus, you're going to go through it because God went through it. Because cowards never deal with themselves. They only point the fingers at others outside of them. They know they have things that need to be changed, but they think by siding with they can get away and mix heaven with leaven. So God's not going to ever hold them accountable. But and that is because they're siding with the devil doesn't mean God's not. Doesn't mean they're not racking up. Pardon me, spiritual cursings, which means they like what they're doing if they're continuing in so. They like the sin. They have the heart from within. They don't have God's because God's heart tells you, and you listen to the prompting. You know the difference between the truth. You want to do that. Full by him. Which leads us to, I think, you don't want to stay stuck in the muck and the mud. This is a year where you definitely don't want to let yourself get stuck there. God is, and I don't know any other way to say it other than because it's not comfortable when God's narrowing. He's calling you to a very simplistic. He's doing it to operate in high firepower through you, but he's got to find a few vessels he can rest on first who are making room for him. Is that you? Or are you stuck in the mire as some of the Jezebels do? Which leads us to Proverbs 6:6-11. Because God's got a lot ahead of some of you if you'll trust him. A lot of things, a lot of good things, right? If you'll trust him, you got to get rid of you. And he stated this. He said, go to the ant, sluggard. Calls him that right away. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. Look at the ant. Go study an ant. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler. And it stores its provisions in summer. And it gathers its food at the harvest. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? Like you name caller? Okay, you name caller? Okay, when you get up from your sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, rest, poverty will come on you like a scarcity, like an armed. What does that mean? Intercessor, what does that mean? Because he kept saying this to me all day long about the sheep. Lazy sheep. He said, I don't even know why I'm calling them sheep. Some of them aren't even mine. But if I could just get him to believe and just trust me, bring him into. So I'm going to leave you with that. I got to go jump on another call, and hopefully I will be seeing you on Friday. And if I don't, catch you next Tuesday. But until then, have yourself a great night. Have a great week. Love you guys.